Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you in another video. All right, so we're talking about the Los Angeles Lakers. The schedule dropped. The Lakers have woke up this morning and reiterated their interest in giving up 2 picks for Kyrie Irving, but have added that they are not willing to give that up in trade for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner for the Pacers, which I haven't thought through. That's what I will say. I haven't thought through. I'm up for giving it for Kyrie Irving, but I'm not sure we should keep it off the table if for some reason we can't get Kyrie Irving in the Pacer trade. If for some reason the Kyrie Irving trade goes completely south dead and he signs an extension for $5 million or 5 years and we just cannot get him, period. In that scenario, I think the Lakers should revisit what they'd be willing to do for the Buddy Hield trade. And only in that scenario. That means like 0% chance we can get Kyrie at all this season. He would have to get locked up past this season in order for me to agree and make a move like this, which we don't see happening, which is on par basically with what's going on. But I'm telling you, if for some reason the Lakers are keeping that, even if it means that we're going to start the season without Kyrie Irving and no path to Kyrie Irving, I think that's a mistake. I think you do give up what you have to give up to complete the team is essentially what I'm saying. But you don't determine that you need to do that until Kyrie's door is absolutely sealed behind him in Brooklyn. Locked in to stay with them. If we still have a path to get him, then you don't give up the assets that will get him, period. So I'm in agreement with that. That's been the same thing. No news there. Just a reiteration of intent, which I think holds value because of when it's being done. It's the middle of the week. We know that teams are starting to re-engage in conversation. I told everybody as soon as Willie Cauley-Stein signed that it wasn't going to be long before we see the next move. Because the thing about the NBA is it's not about the size of the transaction. In this case, it's because we were at a stalemate with the market being just completely frozen. What you need to see was the market unfreeze. What you need to see is some type of movement of any kind that allows you to understand that some currency agreement is now possible. The exchange of currency can be agreed upon because now something can be seen as some level of fair value in someone's eyes. The acceptance of price is now taking place. So now we're in a space where guys can start moving around again, basically. The market's up and open. Donovan Mitchell, New York Knicks, they've been re-engaging with the Utah Jazz. I don't know if anything's going to happen there just yet, but again, guys are getting back to believing in the possibility of priced value. Let's see, looking at the Lakers schedule, I guess the next phase of this conversation, and of course I didn't memorize the schedule, Jesus Christ, I ain't got that kind of brain, but what I can tell you is we do have 4, if I'm not mistaken, road trips of 4 or more games. I think it was 4. I think I counted 4 road trips of 4 more games, and it was several clusters of 3-game road trips or 2-game road trips throughout. So even though it's not imbalanced in the sense to where you're going to get all of your home games at the first half of the season like last year and then play on the road for the second half, it's not structured difficult in that way. But we do have a very difficult schedule in the sense that you don't spend much time at home for too long. And the Christmas, New Year's stretch is going to be us on the road pretty much the whole stretch. So our guys are not going to be able to celebrate in Los Angeles. That's for sure, because you're going to be playing Christmas Day in Dallas, and that begins a 5 or 6 game road trip on Christmas Day. So I thought that was kind of wild. We got San Antonio 3 times in 4 days, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's some crazy stuff where we played them 3 out of 4 games. Or something like, it's 3 out of 4 games, so it's probably like 3 out of like 7 days or something we played this. It's really, really, really close together. So that's not cool. We got a back-to-back with Chicago, which is insane. I've never even heard anything like that. So you're just going to see a lot of wild stuff on the docket. They got a situation where we got a back-to-back. I think it's we're leaving somewhere like Cleveland and going to Toronto or something back-to-back, 24 hours. It's brutal. It's absolutely no way we're going to win those 2 games. So it's just stuff like that on the schedule you just look at and you could clearly tell that they were shuffling things around all over the schedule as usual to fit narratives. And because of it, you got some weird imbalances on these schedules. Just weird. It's not horrible. It's just, you know that you're going to have to rest some guys in order to structure through this season properly. There's no way that stretch between, I think it's Cleveland or Toronto or India, Toronto, whatever that is, there's no way we should have our stars playing both of those games at maximum minutes. Absolutely not. Because they're going to spend half of their night on a damn plane just by nature. We're going to be thrown completely off of our routine in that road trip. So it's just a lot of bad road trips for the Lakers. You got to be prepared for that. It's going to be an awful schedule for them to have to execute in travel, in my opinion. But what we won't have to worry about is playing all the worst games early so that we are stuck with just the most impossible schedule to end the season. That's not how this goes. However, you will play some of the toughest teams in the second half of the season when you do have your home stands. As your home stands come about, you get Golden State a lot of the time. You're going to be getting Memphis a lot of time at the second half of the season. There's going to be a stretch between early February, I believe it is, and mid-March. That's the most brutal part of our schedule. It's February, March, man. We're going to get hit hard because we're going to play some tough teams and we're going to be on the road. We're going to be coming off of road trips, starting road trips in a very short order. Now, there is a nice homestand that takes place near the end of the season, if I'm not mistaken, that gives us about 5 or 6 games at home. I think somewhere in March, the end of March after that, where we're going to be able to just sit at crypto for at least 2 weeks. But that's further down the road, and those are some tough games. It's going to be some real teams coming in. Another thing about the schedule, of course, understanding is that because teams are incomplete, the schedule makers may have structured it so that the schedule can be difficult, but by sheer nature, as teams start to redefine themselves, it may shuffle the schedule up quite a bit. So if you don't think OKC is going to be any good and they come out and be the breakout team of the year, now your schedule's different. If you suddenly had an idea that Boston was going to be the best team in the East and they don't have a good year, now it changes your schedule. So these are things that are going to be understood early on. Our New York road situation is a back-to-back. We play New York, if I'm not mistaken, either back-to-back nights, Brooklyn, New York, back-to-back consecutively, if I'm not mistaken. Or it might be a day in between those two games. I really don't remember. But we're definitely playing the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks back-to-back. So that's going to be very interesting. I'm going off memory, but I know for a fact that we're going to see Portland, I think, with in the first 3 games of the season. I think we got Golden State in the first 3 games of the season. So it's going to be a tough start to our schedule, to say the least. They're just going to put some good stuff going there for us to get narratives going. I believe it's over 30. I don't know. It's above 30 national televised games. I didn't see as many ABC games, surprisingly, though. But I only glanced at it. But we have plenty. I think maybe one shy of last year in terms of nationally televised games. And that's pretty much what I can say about the schedule. Not the greatest schedule in the world. But the NBA is going to try to, position itself to have certain juicy matchups take place at certain times. It's certain things that they want to stay true because of the possibility of injuries throughout a game, 82-game schedule. They want LeBron to play in Miami in the first half of the season. They want LeBron to play in Cleveland in the first half of the season. They want, certain things like that to take place. If they think Russell Westbrook's going to be playing in San Antonio, that would explain why we're playing San Antonio so many times in a short flurry. These are the type of things that they're anticipating. It was something to the Knicks and the Utah Jazz. I know this had nothing to do with us, but you could just see how they were positioning themselves for Donovan Mitchell to be a New York Knick and play against the Utah Jazz. I think something like they have a nationally televised game together or something like that. So you can clearly see what they believe is about to happen in regards to the trades based on how they're structuring their schedule. We got the Clippers early on. There's something weird going on with one of the teams. I think it's Utah. We see them twice early and twice late. It's one of those things. We're going to see them like twice in November and then twice in April or March, I should say, or something. So, yeah, very, very strange match there in regards to how we're going to be seeing that team. But yeah, that back-to-back Chicago, what is that? Chicago is thousands of miles away, and you got us playing one game here, and then just having both teams fly on a plane to come back to play in another arena. I just look at stuff like that and say, yeah, totally unnecessary. Yeah, that's an absolutely unnecessary thing to have to put basketball teams through. That's just ridiculous. But yeah, and the jab, not the jab is in injection. I'm talking about the jab that they threw at LeBron James, having him play 25 on the 25th of December, Christmas Day, starting a long road trip that doesn't end until the 2nd of January, I believe. What are y'all doing? Y'all know this is this guy's 20th year. Why are you sticking it to him in such a way that's just flat out disrespectful? I said it when they first released it, and I'll say it now. I resent that to the fullest. I think it's really disrespectful to LeBron James to have him starting a road trip somewhere else and then having to go the duration of his holiday on that road trip at year 20, at age 37, almost 38. That's gonna be his birthday week too. This is whack. That's whack. They did him foul, and I just don't think they do that to every star. So I understand that they probably structured it a certain way so they could have him be in certain places, as I said, at certain times. But to have him come to Dallas to play Luka on Christmas Day, that's not good. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it feels. It's off. So it is what it is. Hopefully we can get a victory that day and make it make sense. But even if we do, it's like, we got these guys on a road trip, the beginning of a road trip on Christmas Day. Man got kids. Everybody on the team got kids. All these guys have kids. That's why I just don't think it should be about just capitalizing on Christmas Day. And then I look at it like this too. You got him going to Dallas on Christmas Day. I love Luka. Luka is a super draw. But that ain't the biggest marquee game you could have gave yourself if you're trying to compete with the NFL on Christmas Day. This is one of those situations where they pointed it out. I don't remember which pundit pointed it out, but this is going to be the first year in like maybe ever that the NBA and the NFL are going to be competing with a full slate of games, right? Because of obviously it's a Sunday, so you're talking about NFL just running their regular schedule, and then you're talking about the NBA putting on its Christmas Day games. I just don't think that's the craziest matchup. Maybe I'm just underrating the draw that Luka Doncic is, because he's a hell of a superstar, and I definitely want to see him, and I'm going to be watching. But I don't think that's the craziest scenario. Like in terms of like, all right, let me see if I can put something on TV that I know everybody going to watch. That ain't the matchup I'm putting on TV that I know everybody's going to watch. I just think they kind of overthought that one. I know LeBron and Luka have a similar style of play in terms of big forwards that pass, control the game in such a way that it's just extraordinary, two of the greatest. But I don't look at Dallas's team as a team like, all right, I gotta hurry up and watch this. I gotta hurry up and see Luka go up against LeBron James. I don't look at Luka as that type of entertainment draw. He's just amazing at what he does, and you're gonna win a lot of games because of what he does. He shoots in such a way that is entertainment, but like in terms of, like, that's not Giannis. That's not a high fly act like Ja Morant. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm trying to put the stuff on TV that I know must be seen, I'm putting of course Kobe, but I'm putting Steph Curry and LeBron James together. It's Golden State, LA. It's Lakers, Boston. It's Lakers wherever KD's playing. That's the thing you put on Christmas Day. Lakers, Brooklyn, if you think Brooklyn's going to be intact and these scenarios are going to be in place, those are the type of games I want to see. Respect to Luka Doncic, but that's going to be an okay game. Lakers Dallas is a nice ABC game on a Sunday afternoon, but it ain't that. It ain't that. So maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully it'll be a great game, overtime game. We can win at the buzzer. Make this video look aged poorly, but if that game turns out to be a snooze fest, it won't be a surprise to me. You should have put LeBron James against the Bucks or something so you can have Giannis and Bron on the floor at the same time or something like that. But hey, we'll see. I just look at the surrounding cast of the Dallas Mavericks and the surrounding cast of the Lakers, and I'm like, If Kyrie ain't on that team, that game ain't gonna be as fun as y'all want it to be. So I'm just put it out there like that. That's how I feel. But all in all, I think we're gonna have a great slate of basketball to watch this season. Hopefully, these teams can get complete. Hopefully, we can see some young teams utilize the talent that they have and actually succeed because of it. What do I mean by that? I'm thinking about one team specifically for some reason, and that is the OKC Thunder. I look at the OKC Thunder and I say, even though you have a bunch of basketball infants, they're all so extremely talented that I would not be surprised if they actually won 35, 40 games this year. Would not shock me. Now, I don't expect that. I ain't putting no money on that, and I wouldn't tell you to either. But what I'm saying is, if you're aware of the type of talent that they have from the top to bottom, and the lottery picks that they've picked up, and the players that they've added over the years, and the guys that they've been developing over the last several years, you will realize that they literally have one of the most talented teams in all of the NBA right now. The problem is they haven't developed yet. They're just a bunch of kids right now. So it could go a lot of different ways, right? But I look at their team and I say, what kind of kids do they have? They got kids that are all extraordinary in length, play defense, some of them shoot, players off the bench that help with cohesiveness, passers and defenders and rebounders. It should translate to victories against teams that don't have depth, against teams that cannot guard lengthy guys like a Holmgren or a Poku. It should translate to wins. I don't think that team necessarily has to struggle like every other young team we've ever seen in our lives because of the types of pieces, the bodies that they have, and the talent that those bodies naturally possess. If their coaching situation is straight, and I don't know what's going on in OKC is their coaching situation, I have to learn that. I really don't know. But if that dude can get those young kids to maximize what it is that they can do on the court, I think they're going to beat pros this year. They're going to beat teams that they're not supposed to beat, and they're going to do it in ways that you don't expect to see it. That's unprecedented in my mind. But I think this could be day one of the young team out the gate that could be a contender. Out the gate. Because of the matchup issues that a team like that possesses. Detroit, I think the same thing. Because they pose real legitimate matchup problems for teams that are established with vets that expect to have great expectations. They're going to match up with some of these baby squads, and they're going to find out they don't have the bodies. A team like Philadelphia, they're going to find out they don't have the bodies. When they go up against a team like OKC, they're going to find that their bench, as of right now, ain't as good as theirs. I'm telling you. When you look at players like Wiggins and Baisley and Poku, and it's like, yo, those are the guys behind the guys who are going to be starting. It's the type of thing I'm talking about. You don't know what you're actually looking at on the schedule, because every time I see the word OKC or Detroit or Orlando, I think we're going to have a battle this season. I think when you go into those arenas, if you come in there not prepared with your hard hat on, you're going to lose. I truly believe that. Look at a team like Houston, all them young kids they got. They picked up the Smith kid. He's a defensive guy now. Now you got a defensive player in the mix of a Houston team. You replaced Christian Wood, solid guy, but he didn't play defense like that. He can dunk, he can score. He's an all-star level player, but he's not a defensive all-star level player. Jabari Smith is going to be guarding all the bigs. He's going to be guarding all of them. And it's like, you also understand that Jalen Green's taking a step forward. If they re-sign KPJ and don't trade him, which I think is possible, he's going to be taking many steps forward. You look at all the other pieces they got, Eason and all these guys, Christopher taking steps forward. I'm not certain that that's not a team that's going to be taking a massive jump in their production this year. These are young teams. Sacramento, keep it going. I see them on the schedule. People are like, oh, that's a game we can win. Are you sure? Because last I checked, Keegan Murray was the real deal. And they got a lot of guys coming back, and their pieces make more sense. And Davion Mitchell, in my mind, is still maybe arguably the best on-ball defender in all of basketball. Like, literally. It's him, Drew Holiday, Ben Simmons, these type of guys. That's what comes to mind for me. Thibault and these people. But he's in the mix. He's one of the best defenders in all of basketball. So, and he's getting started. It's day one for him. And people have forgotten who he is because there's so much other stuff on the Kings that you pay attention to. You don't realize Davion Mitchell can make a massive jump. on both sides of the floor. So it's like, look, I know what these teams have. I know what Houston got. I know what Detroit got. I know what Orlando got. I know what OKC got. I know what Sacramento got. I know what Cleveland got. All those teams, the teams you think ain't going to be no good. And I am telling you, I know that all of them can be. All of them. If each and every one of those teams make the playoffs, it won't be a surprise. If each and every one of those teams don't make the playoffs, I'm expecting that because those are not very good teams, with the exception of Cleveland, who I do expect to make the playoffs. But what I'm saying to you is the year of the young team not coming in green and not knowing what the hell to do with themselves, I think the potential of those days being over could be upon us starting this season. And I do believe someday before it's over, we are going to see a rookie type team get to the NBA Finals. We're going to see that. It's going to happen. Watch. Because experience doesn't matter as much when the players are much more gifted than the field and much more bigger, stronger, and faster than the field. We're going to be entering a space where that is the case, where it ain't going to have nothing to do with experience because the matchup's going to be so ridiculous. Watch what I'm telling you, because that's where the game is headed. So as I see this coming, I'm telling you guys, this could be the beginning of that. All these teams you think ain't no good, all these teams you think are really good, if the teams that are really good don't have depth and length and young players to match up with those guys, and those guys display a level of poise that maybe some young players haven't shown in the past but are starting to as the years progress and guys become more and more good at what they do at the beginning of their careers, you're going to start seeing what I'm talking about manifest. You're going to see it and mess around and mess up all of the betting odds in Vegas, because a year like this is coming. And all these little teams, yeah, we expect this team and that team from last year because they brought back an old star that's been around for 100 years, and they brought back an old star that's been around for 10 years. Yeah, okay. But Chet Holmgren's like 7'3", and he plays perimeter. So does Wembanyama. So they're going to be here very soon, and you're going to have to deal with them whether you have experience or not. So trust you me, that's not going to be an easy task. And I'm awaiting that because I'm excited about the youth movement in the NBA, and I'm going to tell you something else. I think some of these old guys are going to stick around. Some of them sticking around. I think you've seen the last of KD and Kyrie and some of the LeBron James. They're not going away. Their conditioning is where it needs to be. And if they don't suffer any catastrophic injuries, they're still going to be the elite players that are going to be good enough to keep up with those crazy matched up guys. Because guys who ain't up at that level, they're going to have a hard time with some of the dudes. But it's going to be some of them old school boys, your Steph Currys and KDs, your Chris Pauls and LeBron James, the ones that y'all think are done. I think those are going to be the ones who are going to be able to stop those guys. I think that. I think it's going to be them tweeners that are going to have trouble with the new guys that are going to be coming in. It's just my prediction. So it's awesome to see the landscape of the NBA changing. And I'm just excited to see if all of this, as I see it, manifests. Mess around and see a Houston OKC Western Conference Finals or some stuff someday, sometime soon. So it's the type of league I'm dreaming about, man. Depth and just overall balance out there would be ideal in a league that I'm dreaming to see. So that's what I got to say, man. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. I don't know what to call this. I never do. Oh, and it's my birthday, by the way. If you guys didn't know, I turned 38. I ain't shaving my head. I'm going to let it be as it is right now. And just appreciate everybody who's rocking with BDF 44 on this one. Peace.